Why do you think voters, Democrats, are so excited? Because they weren't before, right? We were talking with a lot of Democrats who, even before that debate, were kind of, it felt like they were just like slow walking to November. And now it feels like Democrats are excited and sprinting. Why? Why would the switch from Biden to Harris do that for the party?
Look, I think that people see themselves in Vice President Harris. She's obviously, and I don't think there's any secret, she's much younger than Donald Trump and Joe Biden, and she has a different feel. And I think that voters are responding to that because they see that. And she's out talking to them about the issues that matter most. And then that's also being reflected in the policy agenda that she's putting forward, that's basically common sense proposals that people have been asking for. And I think that voters are really resonating well with that.
Is this a different electorate for her? Like when you think about President Biden and the 2020, the folks that voted for him in 2020, who you guys seem to be going after, at one point there was like a lot of older people, but now you have younger people, black and brown people, more interested and excited than before. You guys are clearly going after them in different ways, right? Especially with, well, and I talked to Rob Flaherty tomorrow, but like the digital operation and how much of an influence, like how much you guys are focusing on young voters.
Yeah.
Is she going to get a different voting electorate than President Biden, and why?
Look, I think in order for a Democrat to win, the voting electorate would have had to look the same. I think obviously you have to fundamentally turn out the base voters. Obviously young voters are critical, and the vice president is seeing a lot of enthusiasm among young voters. Black voters also, very critical. Latino voters, AAPI, just who she is and her identity is obviously going to be just a baseline place to start from that creates some of that enthusiasm, but you've got to turn that out. And we have to make sure that we're turning this enthusiasm and momentum into actual votes. People can show up to all the events, but our campaign right now is focused on making sure that when people can start voting as early as sort of mid to late September in Pennsylvania, one of the most important states, we're turning them out to vote. And so for me, that's where our priority is. But I think that the map would have looked the same. The voting blocks would have looked the same, and she has to build off that coalition. And then the other piece to that was also there for President Biden as well, is these sort of moderate, independent, leaning Republican conservative voters who are there and voting for Democrats as they did for the first time in 2020. They stayed with Democrats in 2022, and we're seeing them also stick with Democrats in 2024 because of Donald Trump's extremism and because of what is happening on the Republican side of the aisle, and we're going to take advantage of that as well.